There are two final buttons that we skipped over on the right-hand side, both of which relate to snapshot groups. These are the Update Group button and the Relative Groups button. So what's the point of snapshot groups? Grouping snapshots together allows us to update them relative to a set of rules that we can define. We can either make a single big group that contains all the snapshots in the list, or we could make smaller groups of snapshots. Once snapshots have been added to a group, the group is just a consecutive selection of snapshots. The updating of snapshots in a group can happen in two ways, either relatively or absolutely. Probably the easiest way to explain this is with some examples. So I'll start with a list of 10 snapshots, and then, using the Add to Group button, I'll add each of them to the group and also press the Relative Groups button. All the snapshots should now have red text, except the currently selected snapshot, which will have green text. Now, as we make changes to the console parameters, we can either update the snapshots individually or we can update the group. Taking a single fader as an example, I've programmed it to have a slightly different value for each snapshot throughout my list of snapshots. So, as I fire up and down the list, you can see the fader move. Now, if we go back to snapshot 1 and pull the fader down 10 dB, and this time I press Update Group, that fader will be adjusted relatively by 10 dB in every snapshot. That is, have 10 dB taken off its value in every snapshot. Now when we fire through the list, the same relative adjustments are made from snapshot to snapshot, but with 10 dB taken off every value. This relative adjustment can be made to any level-based controller, faders, aux sends, EQ band gains, for example. But in practice, the most commonly adjusted controllers are faders and aux sends. Imagine you're a monitor engineer, and at the top of a show, you need to dial in a change in level for a mix for every song in the set list. If you have all your snapshots in a single group, you can tweak the level, press Update Group, and know that the change is made while retaining the required program differences. Instead of updating groups relatively, a similar group update can be performed but in absolute mode. Whereas the group update we've just looked at is performed relatively, the absolute mode works slightly differently. You'll notice that blue text is used to show absolute groups instead of the red for relative groups. Looking at faders again, I've programmed 5 snapshots where a fader sits at 0 dB in 3 of the snapshots and 10 dB in the other 2 snapshots. If I fire snapshot 1 where the fader is at 0 dB, I'll move it up to plus 5 dB. This time, when I press Update Group, only snapshots where the original fader value matched the current snapshot will be updated. The result is that the snapshots that had a fader value of 0 dB all now have a fader value of plus 5. And the snapshots that had a fader value of minus 10 remain untouched. So to recap, only snapshots in the group that have an identical value are updated with the new value. Again, this absolute group update applies only to dB-based level controls, aux sends, gains, faders. Just before we move on from the group update functions, we should mention what happens when non-level-based controllers are adjusted. So this might be frequency controls on an EQ band or dynamics controls. In both relative and absolute modes, these non-level controllers act the same. When the group update button is pressed, only values in snapshots which match the controller being adjusted are updated. This means that, in practice, Non-level controllers always follow the absolute group update rules, and it is only the DB or level-based controllers that behave differently in relative mode.